In the 14th century, people went to sleep healthy and woke up dying. No warning, no signal, no explanation. Just a fever rising through the body like something had already made a decision before they even understood what was happening. At first, it felt like weakness, then heat, then something heavier, something wrong. And then came the swellings, dark, painful masses forming beneath the skin, in the armpits, along the neck, sometimes in the groin, growing fast, too fast, as if the body itself had stopped following its own rules. Now imagine waking up and seeing that on someone you love. No doctor explaining it, no treatment, no reason, just the certainty that something irreversible had started. And within days, sometimes hours, entire families disappeared. Not gradually, not one by one, all at once. Homes that were full of voices, silent, doors closed, food left untouched, beds abandoned. Now stop for a moment. Really think about that level of fear. Because this wasn't just death. This was unpredictability, and unpredictability is what breaks systems. Would you stay, or would you run? Because that was the only choice they had. And the terrifying part is this. No matter what they chose, it didn't matter. Because the thing they were trying to escape was already moving through the system itself. This wasn't just a disease. This was a total collapse. This was the Black Death. Before everything fell apart, Europe in the early 1300s looked stable, strong even. Cities were growing, trade routes were expanding, populations were rising faster than ever before. For the first time in centuries, the system seemed to be working. Markets were full, roads were active, goods traveled from Asia to Europe with increasing speed. Cathedrals dominated skylines, monuments not just of faith, but of engineering capability. From the outside, this looked like progress. But systems don't fail when they look weak. They fail when they look stable, but aren't. Look closer. Cities were dense, extremely dense. Streets were narrow. Air circulation was poor. Waste accumulated in open channels. Water sources were exposed. From a modern perspective, the problem is obvious, but at the time, no one saw it. These were perfect conditions for biological amplification. And even more dangerous than that, everything was connected. Trade routes stretched across continents. Ships moved constantly. Caravans never stopped. The system was efficient. But it had no defense mechanism. Now think about this. What happens when a system is designed to connect everything, but has no way to stop anything? Far from Europe, in the steppes of Central Asia, something had already started moving. A bacterium, Yersinia pestis. It had existed there for centuries, living quietly inside rodent populations, contained, balanced, invisible to human systems. But then, something changed. Climate instability disrupted the environment. Drought, then rain, then collapse of food sources. And when the ecosystem broke, the hosts moved. Rodents began migrating closer to human settlements, closer to trade routes, closer to the network. But the real threat wasn't the rodents. It was what traveled with them. Fleas. Now stay with me here, because this is where it becomes almost mechanical. The flea acted like a biological injection device. The bacteria blocked its digestive system. That meant it couldn't feed properly. So it bit again, and again, and again. Each bite forcing infected material into the bloodstream of a new host. This wasn't random. This was a system. Efficient, silent, invisible. And once it reached humans, there was no stopping it. The disease moved along the Silk Road. What had once been the backbone of global trade became something else entirely. A transmission corridor. Caravans didn't stop. Trade didn't stop. Movement didn't stop. And neither did the disease. And then came the moment that changed everything. The city of Kaffa, a Genoese trading hub in Crimea, strategic, fortified, essential. It was under siege by the Mongol Golden Horde. But something unexpected happened. The attackers began to die. Not from combat, from the plague. Now imagine standing on those walls, watching your enemy collapse without a fight. At first that looks like victory, until they adapt. They use catapults, machines designed for war, and turn them into biological delivery systems. They launched infected bodies over the city walls. Think about that decision, that moment, that shift from warfare to contamination. Because once the disease entered the city, there was no defense left. Panic took over. And this is where systems break completely. People ran. Ships left Kaffa carrying survivors, goods, and infection. These ships were engineered for efficiency, not containment. Inside them, rats, fleas, bacteria. Every port they reached became another outbreak. Messina, Marseille, Genoa, each one connected, each one vulnerable. Now ask yourself this: was the disease the real threat, or was it the network that carried it everywhere at once? By the time Europe understood what was happening, it was already too late. Cities became amplification zones, dense populations, continuous contact, no sanitation control, perfect conditions for exponential spread. Doctors tried to respond, but they didn't understand the system. They believed in bad air, so they built protection based on that belief. The plague doctor mask, the long beak filled with herbs, the waxed coat, the gloves. From the outside, it looked advanced, but it was built on the wrong model. And when your model is wrong, your solution accelerates failure. As the death toll rose, something else began to collapse. Human behavior. Fear replaced logic. Rumors spread faster than the disease. Communities turned against each other. Violence erupted. Thousands died, not from infection, but from panic. Now be honest with yourself. If this happened today, would we respond differently? Or would we just react faster? The plague moved into the countryside. And this is where collapse becomes visible. Fields were abandoned. Harvests failed. Animals wandered. Villages disappeared. Without labor, the agricultural system collapsed. Food production stopped. Supply chains broke. Nature reclaimed the land. Forests expanded, roads vanished. The system didn't weaken, it reversed. If you've stayed with me this far, then you already understand something most people miss. This isn't just history, it's about systems. How they're built, how they fail, and how quickly everything can collapse when no one sees the flaw. So if that's what you're here for, subscribe to Hyperativatech, because every video here is about understanding the moments where everything almost broke. By 1351, the first wave slowed, not because it was controlled, but because there was less left to destroy. Between 75 and 200 million people were gone, up to half of Europe's population. But from that collapse, something unexpected happened. Power shifted. Labor became valuable. Workers demanded more. Feudal systems weakened. Society was forced into a complete redesign. This wasn't recovery. This was re-engineering. Now I want your perspective. What do you think failed first? The biology? The infrastructure? Or human behavior? Tell me in the comments. I want to see how you think. The Black Death was not just a tragedy, it was a test, a system under pressure, and it failed. And the uncomfortable truth is this: the same patterns still exist today. Global connection, dense cities, complex systems. We've improved the tools, but the structure is still vulnerable. If you stayed with me until the end, then you're not just watching history, you're understanding it. This is Hyperativatech, where science, engineering, and history come together to reveal how the world really works, and how it almost didn't. I'll see you in the next video.